A very good morning to all of you. A woman is a full circle within her. Within her is the power to create, nurture, and transform. She is the powerful beyond measure and beautiful beyond description. On this note, I welcome you all to the first ever TiE Women in Business Conclave 2019. I extend a warm welcome to the President of TiE Kerala, Mr. M.S.A. Kumar, Ms. Aruna Sundarajan, IAS, former Telecom Secretary, Government of India, Mr. George Thomas, Executive Vice President, ESAF Small Finance Bank, and all the dignitaries on and off the dais. Eminent speakers who have consented to grace this conclave with their knowledge and presence, members of the Women Entrepreneurial Network, and all delegates who have taken time out of their busy schedule to be here today. A warm welcome to all of you. TiE has been known to have conducted powerful entrepreneurship events, programs in the past. This year, it was decided to have an exclusive women-centric program in collaboration with the Women Entrepreneur Network, or we call WEN. It was a surprise to note that a lot of men wanted to register, and most of the women speakers insisted in half the audience being men. So I think the time has come to recognize that it is a level playing field. The rules are uniform for both men and women. Today we showcase women who are shining stars in their area of expertise. From the corporate world to small self-made businesses, women who thought out of the box, disrupted convention with their products and process, and women who cut a path away from the mainstream into entertainment and music. We have women on stage today from a wide ranging age group too, proving beyond doubt that if only women exercise their power, they could remake the world. They are the real architects of the society. To share a small but important success story with you, 2 years ago, a few friends, associates, and I, with the intent of filling this gap in the efforts at uplifting women-owned businesses, started a WhatsApp group of like-minded professional women business owners. Within a week, it swelled and grew, and we named it Women Entrepreneur Network, or WEN, that's how we call it. Over the last 2 years, WEN has handheld, mentored, trained women business owners through training programs, workshops, outbound programs, etc. As women, we know how to have our cake and eat it too. So, I would also like to thank a few people for their unstinting support. Mr. M.S.A. Kumar, Retd, Anandamani, Indu, Divya, Laila, Maria, Asha, Thangam, Nirmal, and Divya of the TiE office. At this juncture, I would like to thank my WEN family, my Powerpuff Girls, for all their sincere efforts. As women, we know how to have our cake and eat it too. We have ever joined hands in flood relief work, philanthropic activities, and many a fun trip too. Our vibrant WhatsApp group is a treasure trove of information, and it gives the yellow pages a stiff competition. From finding vendors, manufacturers, service people, to plumbers and babysitters, and even snake charmers, we find everything on WEN group. So whatever you need, it is on WEN. That is how we see WEN. This year, TiE collaborated with WEN to put forth the first ever edition of the Women in Business Conclave. So let us begin, set the ball rolling for a fruitful and eventful conclave. Once again, a hearty welcome to all of you. Thank you so much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I can see right in front of me, Anjali Menon sitting here, and when, as Sheela mentioned, when we decided to have this conference and invited Anjali for a keynote address or a fireside chat, she told Kumar, I want 50% to be men. because she is not fed up, but she told, look, I have been addressing many conferences, women talking to women, what's the use? I mean, let men also, not any kind of gender bias or whatever you call, but let men also listen to the women. I was just sitting in the chair, taking a quick count. We have disappointed you, but this is a beginning. I think I see around 15% men on a very fair estimate here. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, especially for our state. Okay, you all understood what I meant. I won't take much of my time because Revati, where is she? She is the program chair and she has given me 3 minutes to speak. So I told her normally speakers have a maximum cutoff. I am a speaker with a minimum cutoff. So I told her when I get a mic, I would like to speak for 30 minutes. But she really, yeah, she's standing there. So she is going to really kill me, okay? And there are eminent speakers to follow us. So basically, I would like to say a few words and then close the talk. One is that this year TiE, TiECon is the 8th event. 8th TiECon is going to happen on October 4th and 5th. We thought this year it makes immense sense to have mini-cons in the areas of agriculture. We had an agripreneur on August 31st at Kottayam. And of course, this Women in Business, which is basically fostering women entrepreneurship. We have one coming up in Calicut next same Saturday, Sunday, which is called the Design Con. That's also a very, very nice event. If you get a chance to be there in Calicut, it's in a school which has been designed by one architect. It's a government school, and it's fantastic. We'll show you a video of that later during the break. So this is the basic change we have put in this year in terms of having 4 mini-cons before that. This is hopefully a women's conclave with a difference, and we have tied up from TiE with the very energetic team of WEN. I would say that under Sheela's leadership, I had a tough time, being sometimes the only committee member sitting amongst 12 WEN members and planning out the program. You can just imagine I'm still alive. Indu, I got a very big clap from you. Anyway, no jokes apart, I think it has been a phenomenal experience. And this has been one thing which really, in terms of how to organize an event, is a very clear case. And let's accept it. We are going to have I'm going to have a fireside chat with Anjali. Let's accept it. In terms of multi-skilling, multitasking, I think we have to accept the fact that women are a small edge above men. Small edge. Don't clap too much. Maybe a little bit. Okay. Anyway, so we have fantastic speakers today. Aruna madam is there. She had such a wonderful career, finally culminating by July 31st as the Telecom Secretary, Chairman of the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, a very senior position in Government of India. Last night I talked to her, and she also is going to share her stories, because we always find illuminaries or successful people like this, and we all think that it's an overnight success. But everybody has gone through. Like you say, Sachin Tendulkar, you say, oh, the guy is fantastic, but the kind of energy. For example, yesterday I saw Usha Uthup, Anjali Uthup, and Aisha. Aisha, correct? Yeah. Yesterday evening, you will hear them in the evening. Yesterday evening, they were practicing here. And Usha had undergone a recent surgery, knee surgery. And she was standing here, and I looked at the passion with which she was practicing. And she was firing these people there. I will kill you if I get an echo like this. I don't want this tomorrow when I perform. So basically what I'm saying is that we are going to listen to such illustrious people who achieved success, but behind every success there is a long story behind it. So we have Aruna, we have Anjali, we have Usha, and plus a whole lot of young entrepreneurs who are daring to dream and achieve success. I think before Revati kills me, I'm going to close it. This is also we wanted to make it a zero plastic, zero waste event. But we have not completely achieved it, because our Honorable Prime Minister 2 weeks back in Delhi mentioned that India is going to ban single-use plastic. So this one is given by one of the WEN members. This is not, what is this, Divya? What is the material? Yeah, it's not any plastic. No plastic. This is also no plastic. Only plastic thing which is there, which we are saying, it's not zero. The gift pack what you got, one of the goodies, there's a shampoo, is a plastic bag. So we can't say it's zero. You will not see any water bottles here, not anything like that. So basically, I think another thing is that in your gift bag, you will see this. This is done by our presenting sponsor. This is, which says that say no to plastic and use this for shopping. So this is there, okay? So basically, this is what TiE and WEN are doing together. I will now close, otherwise our program chair will eat me up. So wish you all a very wonderful day, and it's going to be very eventful, good learning. And I think, see, men have increased now. I think slowly the percentage is going up. I could see they're coming in. So I'm sure by the time we close, it will be about 20%, but not to what Anjali mentioned, about 50. So good luck. I thank also the WEN members for such a wonderful cooperation. I enjoyed working with them for such a lovely event. Enjoy the day, and I'm sure all of us will carry some good learnings from the women. So thank you. Have a nice day.
First of all, thanks to the Compeer for that very energizing start. I think even those who were strolling in a very relaxed and laggard manner have all now woken up because thanks to the rousing welcome. Mrs. Sheela, Kochuuseph, Program Chair, and I believe one of the leading spirits behind this entire event and the WEN network. Mr. Kumar, who has been leading TiE with a lot of energy and has, I think myself had the privilege of attending quite a few TiE events under his leadership. Mr. George Thomas, Ms. Maria Abraham, friends. At the outset, let me thank TiE for having given me this opportunity to be here. Some locations, some themes always strike a greater resonance amongst speakers than others. And for me, first of all, Cochin, in a sense, is like coming home. I don't know how many of you know this, but I started my career in the IAS in Kerala, in Cochin, in 1986 with the GCDA. And over the years, Cochin has certainly become a much more attractive, it was always a very attractive city to begin with, but this is one city which has actually become even more attractive, more vibrant, and I'm delighted to see more women-friendly, because I know that there are lots of women events that this city caters to, and I can't think of too many cities in India which really do that. I wish other cities would take a leaf out of Kochi's book. The second thing is TiE. I think I was one of the first people to actually meet Mr. Kanwal Rekhi in 1998. And as all of you know, Mr. Kanwal Rekhi was one of the founding members of TiE. And I remember meeting him across a conference first in Stanford, and then later on actually attending one of the TiE events. This was again in 1999. And we had on that occasion, we actually invited TiE to Kerala. And I don't know how many of you recall or know that he actually led a TiE delegation to India, to Kerala, and they of course went to other places in India as well. But Kerala was one of the first places that TiE came to in India. And Mr. Rekhi had actually called on the then Chief Minister, Mr. Nayanar, and there was this very interesting conversation because Mr. Nayanar was pointing to Karl Marx, the picture that he had behind him, and Mr. Rekhi was passionately advocating that in Kerala needs to promote entrepreneurs. But it was actually a very good meeting. And I think soon after, TiE actually started their chapter in Kerala in 2003 or 2. Okay, I stand corrected. The third thing is that, whenever we speak of women entrepreneurs, and I'm being a little liberal here with the interpretation of women in business, even though that's the theme, I think there is a larger message that is really being sought to be conveyed. And that is that, India and Kerala, we really, I think, have so much potential in terms of women entrepreneurship and women's contribution overall to the economy and society. I think, fortunately, Kerala and Kochi is one of the places where this is far better recognized than most. And the space available for women entrepreneurs and women in Kerala is certainly much higher than it is anywhere else in the country. Just the fact that, Kudumbashree, and I note that you have some panelists speaking about Kudumbashree. I had an opportunity also to be briefly associated with Kudumbashree. And certainly, I think by any yardstick, Kudumbashree is one of the world's most remarkable programs in terms of women empowerment. But what I would like to share with you is that, when I had this opportunity to work with Kudumbashree, the kind of extraordinary understanding that they had of the challenges that women face. As we know, Kudumbashree, is intended to be providing various kinds of support to groups of women, all, for undertaking entrepreneurial activities amongst other things, but several other activities as well. And one of the first issues that were discussed when we had a meeting of Kudumbashree entrepreneurs was, they said, look, whenever we go to a bank, why is it that we are always made to sit in the corner and wait for all the other clients? The banker will deal with all the other clients, and the Kudumbashree group will have to wait for hours. Sometimes, these are working women. They are not from very affluent sections. Therefore, if they take a bus early morning and go to a bank branch, they expect that they will have their discussion or their needs discussed, since they have reached the bank much before everybody else. However, uniformly, the groups would say that if the banker would see a group of Kudumbashree women, he would say, you please wait, let me finish with my day's business and then I'll get to you. And I think we then started a campaign where we actually got across to the bankers and tried to socialize them, saying that in fact this group needs to be given priority. They need to be dealt with first rather than with any other group. Now this is just one instance. There are several other instances that I'm sure each one of you, it may not be so explicit. The gender discrimination, I think over the years we have gotten smarter at masking the gender discrimination. And therefore, overtly we, do not like to make it obvious. But it is so deeply entrenched that I'm sure all of you must be facing it in some subtle form or the other. In fact, I myself was not aware how over the years we ourselves, women, have become so gendered until I started having a series of conversations with my daughter. And she said, can you recount all the instances when you have, when you have felt that you've been treated differently? And I used to initially keep telling her, look, I belong to a very privileged category called the IAS. And in the IAS, we usually give orders. So I don't think there have been too many instances. You must understand that, I don't represent the typical woman. But later on, as this conversation deepened, I did begin to realize that there were several instances when, we have accepted how gendered we are as a society. And it suddenly came to me that every time I would enter the Kerala Secretariat, along with my husband, we are batchmates, He would always have smooth passage. I would be stopped at the gate and asked, "Where's your ID card?" He was never asked for his ID card even once. Similarly, when we would get into a car and drive, the driver would wait for the instructions to come from the man. No matter how many times, I mean, the driver would be technically my driver, assigned to me, but if I drove with him alone, I could give instructions, but when the man was in the car, he would wait that imperceptible delay to make sure that the instruction came from him or that it was endorsed by him. I mean, these are just instances, I certainly should be the last person to say any of this because I belong to a highly entitled class, and I must recognize that. But, I think if we were to extrapolate what kind of instances of gender discrimination people feel, I have to say that despite the fact that Kerala is probably one of the most progressive societies in India, and I have to say that coming from Delhi, it's visible, it's different. I would never, for example, see such a gathering of women in Delhi where the proceedings would be run by women and where, where women are just much more confident. You can see that distinction. It's intangible, but it's nevertheless very, very powerfully present. So despite the fact that Kerala is such an educated, such a progressive society, I still believe that we have a long way to go. And if we look at the rest of India, of course, then there is. So possibly, I think Kerala has an opportunity to be a role model for women entrepreneurship. That's the point I'm trying to make. This again was brought to me in a very unexpected way. I was talking to one of my friends who happens to be leading one of the largest technology associations, the Internet and Mobile Technology Associations across India. And I was asking him, I was trying to get an understanding of where it is that technology startups, particularly women-led startups, are doing well. And I was trying to ask him to share with me, what is the state of play in this area. And so I said, where would one go? Where, if you wanted to see some meaningful startups, not necessarily potential unicorns. I'm not looking at the most glamorous high-tech startups necessarily. I was looking to see where would I find meaningful, rewarding, a different category of startups where there's great social impact, because that was what I was trying to understand from him. And his answer was totally unexpected for me, at least, because I thought he might say, Pune or Bangalore or Hyderabad or any of these places. And he said, no, madam, go to Cochin or go to Calicut. And he actually named women entrepreneurs, startups from Kochi and Calicut. And his third choice also is equally interesting. And he said, go to Chhattisgarh. He said, these are the kinds of places where we are finding that something extraordinary is happening. The numbers may not be huge. It may not be that the media has really picked up these stories, but he said that, these are really genuine startups which are going to make a big difference. So I think when I said that Kerala has an opportunity, and TiE Kerala has this opportunity, because as Anjali, I think, had pointed out, really we need to be speaking to the men. Because for women, unlike for the men, the choice of being an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur at that is not merely an individual choice. It's really a family choice. because our decisions are family decisions. I don't think there is a single woman in India, no matter what age, who can simply say that today I am deciding to be this. No, that's not who we are. We have several choices to make which need to incorporate the larger family. You know, we have to keep in mind not just what our spouses, how our spouses would deal with this, but we are part of larger joint families in many cases. We may not live in a joint family, but we certainly relate and interact in a joint family kind of system. And therefore, it's very important that the family culture enables a woman to realize her creativity. And I think, while I said I would like to speak to the men on this, I must quickly correct myself. We must also speak to the women. In families where there is a strong male patriarch or a male dominant person, then maybe that decision gets taken with his support. But in many, many, many cases, women are also equal. And in fact, some young person was pointing out to me that, do you know, when we say that India is a gendered society, we must keep in mind that this gender imbalance is on one side till the woman is young. After the age of 50, the gender imbalance actually shifts, and the woman becomes the dominant force. I mean, it's interesting. We may agree or not agree, but the point is that it is at the time when a woman is struggling to identify herself, to define herself, which is when the social pressures and the family pressures are oppressive, because they are really afraid of her independence. But that is the time when, all the women here, and where women are struggling to find self-expression. And I would look at, women in business or women in entrepreneurship or women in the arts. It's finally about, an opportunity to express themselves, to express their own creativity. And that is why I think we also need a new definition of entrepreneurship in Kerala and even in India. This definition that we have borrowed from Silicon Valley, where everything is about high tech, where everything is about scale, where everything is about the amount of money you make, being a unicorn, earning $1 billion, I think that paradigm has only a limited relevance. The larger paradigm we should be looking at is really, I think more like East Asia, Europe, China, where almost any small enterprise can be led by women. So if you look at Europe, for example, they have a slightly different model of entrepreneurship. It's much more decentralized. It's not this kind of monolithic, large companies in the American style. There's much more room for smaller enterprises. And I think particularly for a state like Kerala, which is so beautiful, but also quite environmentally fragile, I think we have to look at more sustainable models of entrepreneurship, where we need to look at hundreds, if not thousands, of men and women with their creativity being able to create enterprises that can deliver local value, maximum local value to the people around them, to enrich the communities around them. I think that is the kind of vision of entrepreneurship that I personally believe would really not just work for Kerala, but would work for the people themselves. Because if you get into this, standard paradigm that I need to attract so much of capital, I need to grow at this rate, I need to be an unicorn or a whatever version of that in a few years, and if you don't achieve that, obviously there are very few people who are going to achieve that, and then you have these figures that 95% will be failures. I mean, that is a paradigm that honestly to me seems like, why would we want such a paradigm? We would want a paradigm where every entrepreneur can potentially succeed. And we can define success in a more meaningful way that, when we deliver value to the community and somebody sees that this is enriching the quality of life, in some way. I think that is the definition we need to look at. And if that is the kind of paradigm we have, then I think we have room for many, many, many more contributors, whether they're in the arts, whether they're in the literary area, whether they're in the creative field, whether they're in business, it could be in any field. I'm aware that Mr. Kumar is a very strict timekeeper, and so I don't want to exceed my time. I just want to say that, he did say, please share your own learnings. So I'll just quickly conclude with 3 of my own learnings. And the first thing is, and I think he also said that, or I think one of the, maybe Sheela mentioned it, that clearly we have to make a choice. We can either go with the herd or we can assert our individuality. Now, asserting our individuality is not always easy, and it's not always the lowest hanging fruit. But I think clearly, if we want in the long run to be more creative, fulfilled individuals, then I think we have to make that choice, and we will have to learn how to convey that choice in a manner that society allows us to also exercise that. We need not always be confrontational about it. There are ways in which I think if we are socialized properly, and if the men are also socialized properly, I think these choices can be much more harmoniously made. But certainly, do speak for yourself, be assertive. And this brings me to that famous analysis that's been done. This is also a story where Sheryl Sandberg, in many of her speeches, she cites this, that women often tend to take a back seat on their own. Nobody's asking them to take a back seat, but because we are culturally sensitized in such a manner, we would automatically take a back seat. I'll give you one instance. I was at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit 2 years ago. This was a very high-profile event. Many of you may remember. I think India was hosting it for the first time. The Prime Minister was there. And after the inaugural function, there were all these rock stars of the entrepreneurial field in India. And each of them, after the inaugural session, was swamped by a group of young men. So there would be 10, 15, 20 young men, all trying to get the attention of this rock star entrepreneur. And many of them did strike up conversations, and they moved into the coffee hall, etc. And then I noted by the side that there were young women, a group of young women standing there. So I went to them and said, why didn't you, because I realized that they were also wanting to speak to these people. And they said, no, we were feeling a little embarrassed because all these men. So this is typical women behavior, that women would prefer to stand by the sidelines. And we are full of self-doubt and questions. And in fact, Sheryl Sandberg says that she and her sister, after every exam, they would be agonizing. They would have studied for months, and they would be agonizing about the results, while their brother, who never studied and never opened a book, would always come back after the exam and say, oh, I waste all the papers. So, and this has been actually studied as a scientific issue. And even in the White House, they have found that women White House staffers are very hesitant to speak up. And so they actually had coaching classes so that if a woman made a point, then there would be somebody else, another woman, who would pick up that point and magnify it, so that they would create the requisite environment for those ideas to be taken seriously. Because one thing you all hear, and I've heard many times, that as a woman, it is so difficult to be taken seriously. Maybe your physical presence is taken seriously, But the minute you start to speak, you have to make that extra effort to be heard. And why should that be? I mean, that is, in a modern society, that should surely not the case. But you will see it almost everywhere. And there are also terms like mansplaining, where, despite the fact that there was this very, eminent author of a book who wrote the book, she was in a social gathering. The gentleman with whom she struck up a conversation started explaining the book to her and said, "You must read this book." She said not once, she said thrice, "I am the author of the book." But the man would not stop explaining. He continued to explain to her. It's called mansplaining. So, I mean, it's not just India, this is all over the world. So the point is that women have to put in that extra struggle to be heard. But I think it's therefore important. Women must be taught, at least we as older women, when we have this opportunity, must make sure that we give younger women an opportunity to be taken seriously. So with these words, let me once again say that this is, let me congratulate TiE, because women really need, men may not need these kinds of events because they are in any case networking. Women who are natural networkers, unfortunately, by being boxed in at home, have very little chance to network. Therefore, it is only if somebody, you yourself take the initiative and provide this kind of a platform where you can network, where you can interact. I think this is absolutely critical. If we want the next generation of young entrepreneurs, young women in business, arts, whatever, to be creative, to have their creativity realized, and if they need to find avenues for their self-expression. So once again, it's been a great pleasure being with all of you this morning.
All the respected dignitaries on dais, Chair of this program, Mrs. Sheela Kochuuseph, Chairman of TiE Kerala, MSA Kumarji, Chief Guest of this program, Mrs. Aruna Sundarajan IAS, and Member Program Committee, Mrs. Maria Abraham, all my dear friends, sisters, and brothers. First of all, let me also thank the TiE Conference to conduct an exclusive women entrepreneurship program. And I think we had a lot of sub-conferences like this. We had an Agripreneur conference in Kottayam, and now we have here a women entrepreneurship program or the conference. Then October 4th, we will have again another conference. In fact, ESAF is very privileged to be a part of this conference. And ESAF Small Finance, in fact, all of you know, this is one bank, maybe in Kerala and outside, which has got the largest borrowers of women. We have got around 30 lakhs of women. And considering the membership as well as the borrowers, you can see it is maybe men are only maybe 5% of the entire customership. So that way, we are also really privileged to be part of this. My personal experience as well as the journey with ESAF for the last 25 years, I strongly feel every women are born entrepreneurs. Every women are born entrepreneurs. Otherwise, they cannot be a homemaker. They cannot be a mother. They cannot be a grandmother. They cannot be a caregivers. This I have even my personal, but the way we create an ecosystem for them, continuous support for them, some incubation period for them, that all matters how that women can be a successful entrepreneur. Actually, I learned my basic entrepreneurship from my mother. My mother, very illiterate, maybe 5th class pass. But even now she is almost 86 years. She has got some dementia. But I have been seeing that how she was managing the entire home. considering as a women entrepreneur, I could see, I was living in a upper Kuttanad area in Niranam, where you know that flood is a part and parcel of our life. But even before the flood comes, even before the monsoon starts, she used to store up everything. Like, നമ്മുടെ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഉണക്കമീനും അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ഉപ്പുമാങ്ങായും വാട്ടുകപ്പയും ഒക്കെ സ്റ്റോർ ചെയ്ത് വെക്കും. Why? Because monsoon is coming, there you may not get all those things, so you can cook yourself and feed all the children. We were I have got 3 siblings, so 4 people. So feeding them all. And it was really a hut, so we were all allotted to where the leakage will come in the home, and we should also plug those leakages. I found a good disaster crisis manager in my motherhood. See, now we take the hospitality management. Again, you can see, when some unexpected guests come to our home, the way, nowadays I have seen, my wife or somebody, they will be all perplexed without any information, any guest come in. But I could see my mother, who always, when some unexpected the guest may come during the lunch time, immediately she will go and the unlaying, the hen also may lay egg. So we'll get something from there. Without any information, get something from the neighborhood, if it is lack of coffee powder or tea, something. So she manages, and she will, and the guest will not feel that, guests definitely feel that everything was there. So the hospitality management you can learn from your mother. Again, the financial management. You see, with a little income of my father who was working in a government service, and meeting all the expenditure, I have seen, in between you will also have the festival, you will have the Mamodisa, you will have baptism and all kind of things. Entire that expenditure, she was able to meet without knowing anything, she was able to meet both the ends, manage very well without much debt and all. Good financial management. Social inclusion, you see, any program, whether it is neighbors program or home program or temple program, that she used to participate. See, what else we need? Kindly observe, I used to sometimes wonder the way, I always think if she would have been given an MBA or a basic, some entrepreneurship training, she would have become an industrialist in Kerala. I think not only my mother's case, every woman, they are born entrepreneurs. Only thing is that what kind of ecosystem we are creating for them, what kind of sustainable support we are lending to them, what kind of skills we are upbuilding in their personal as well as professional life. So ESAF also has the same story. Our founder, Paul Thomas, in fact, should have been be here as the speaker, but he could not come here. So the 3,000 rupees which we dispersed to 10 women, even Kudumbasri started its journey here in Kerala. I'm talking about 1992-93. 10 women were selected from Pananjeri village, given 3,000 rupees as a small capital seed for running their small enterprises. Enterprises is, one lady was in fact a LIC agent, another was doing some petty businesses, another was making some brooms, things like that. Then many advised Paul Thomas that you are not going to get that money back. 3,000 rupees, you just consider it is gone. And 30,000 rupees, it was quite a good amount. And interestingly, you see, the next week itself, every 10 of them repaid that money. And consecutively, with a margin, they were able to repay that money. And from the 10 membership, with the 30,000 rupees, the journey started off, ESAF started its journey. Now we have 30 lakhs people, 30 lakh women, and 12,000 crores of balance sheet. Why? Because these poor women are credit worthy. So this, ഈ പാവപ്പെട്ട നമ്മളുടെ സ്ത്രീകളെന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അവർ ക്രെഡിറ്റ് വർത്തി ആയിട്ടുള്ളവരാണ്. അവർക്കിത് തരാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും. അവർക്കൊന്ന് അപ്ഹോൾഡ് ചെയ്താൽ, അവരെ ഒന്ന് കരം പിടിച്ച് നടത്തി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവർക്ക് വലിയ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിയും എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഇസാഫിൻ്റെ വലിയൊരു സ്റ്റോറി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. And we were felicitating almost all the 10. Out of those 10, now 6 are alive. And during our silver jubilee, we felicitated all of them. And now their requirement is, some of them requirement is 10 lakhs rupees. Even one lady, she's running enterprises with all JCB. She has got 2 JCBs, you don't believe. So they have come up to that level. So now, even now, 34% of our women entrepreneurs are running their family business. So either they can be a self-entrepreneur or a co-entrepreneur or a family entrepreneur. And 20% of our clientele, it almost come 3.5 lakh people, they are employing even two more women in their enterprises. So majority of them are really involved in micro enterprises activities. They also face the same market challenges, uncertainty in their businesses, family responsibility, along with the family responsibility. And, but we have found these people, I mean, these women are very, very energetic, very enthusiastic, and building up their business in a big way. So I'm not taking much time. This is the story, and ESAF, definitely we have got a small finance bank kiosk here. So what I said, started with the 30,000 rupees. Now we have got a range of financial assistance. We have got a 2 section. One is on micro banking. All those who are in the self-help groups or the Sangam, they will be getting income generation for their income generation activities, maximum up to 1 lakh rupees. And if it is a retail asset division, from 1 lakh to 30 lakhs of rupees for the business we are giving. So all those details will be given from our this center. So you are most welcome, and you can visit. And we are very happy to assist in the financial aspect of women entrepreneurs. So I'm also cutting short my whole story. Once again, I congratulate all the women entrepreneurs. 10 of our women entrepreneurs are already come here. Some of them are running beautiful aquarium businesses and tailoring business. India is a land, as Arunaji was saying, one land which has no dearth of possibilities and opportunities. Only thing is to see those opportunities, and TiE-like forums can create an environment or ecosystem or a support for these entrepreneurs to have a better networking as well as a hand-holding at the same time, even if it is required an incubation. So definitely, this land, definitely with a lot of women empowerment, will also be known as best women entrepreneurial friendly state. And we used to say, if something is successful in Kerala, which can be successful any part of our land in India. All the best. Thank you very much.
Dignitaries on and off the dais, ladies and gentlemen, it is a matter of immense pride to stand here today to propose the vote of thanks. I am sure you all will agree with me that this has been a wonderful beginning. In fact, this is the beginning of a remarkable initiative of inspiring women, especially entrepreneurs, to become achievers and change makers in the society. Let me express our sincere gratitude to all those who have made this event truly memorable. Our chief guest of the day, Ms. Aruna Sundarajan, has graced the occasion by her august presence and inspiring address. She is a classic example of women power and how a dedicated individual can impact the society positively. Ma'am, on behalf of TiE Kerala and the Program Committee of Women in Business Program, let me express our sincere thanks to you. A big thank you to Mr. George Thomas, an outstanding professional in the microbanking sector, for gracing the occasion and for delivering a brilliant address. Thank you. Thank you for highlighting the positive traits of women. Let me thank each and every one of you in the audience for making this program a grand success by being here today. It is really a pleasure to see men in large numbers, including TiE charter members, of Kerala, charter members of TiE Kerala. We greatly value your support and encouragement. Let me also thank our dynamic TiE president, MSA Kumar, for launching this pioneering initiative under the banner of TiE Kerala. He has been a great support ever since the program was planned. Though we are all part of the same team, I must congratulate Sheela, the program chair, for her wonderful leadership in planning and organizing this event successfully. The contribution of WEN, Women Entrepreneur Network, as the partner of this conference, needs special mention. Thank you, fellow WEN members, for your presence in large numbers. As you all know, teamwork divides the task and multiplies the success. Let me thank each and every one of the dedicated team members of the program committee for their support and active involvement. Finally, let me thank TiE Secretariat, Nirmal, Divya, and team for their tireless efforts behind the scenes for the success of this program. Before concluding, let me remind you about TiECon Kerala 2019, which is happening on October 4th and 5th. That is the largest entrepreneurial summit in South India. Please don't miss it. You will get to watch details on the screen just after this event, this session. I wish you a great day of enlightening and energizing sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.